Good morning and welcome to this morning segment of Road to Wisdom. I'm your host, Andy Graham. So please, let's get ready to walk. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm your host, Andy Graham. And guess what? Yesterday I did not do a video because yesterday was something that I have never done before. I took my father, my mother, and my aunt, my oldest aunt, out fishing yesterday. We went on the boat. A friend of mine was able to give us a nice pontoon boat, and we got up yesterday morning and we went out and we fished just about half the day. We had a very good time, caught some fish, had good conversation, and it was fantastic. Something I'm going to do again because my aunt really liked it. My parents liked it. We had never done that before. Me and my dad been fishing several times, and my mom, but we always fished on land. But yesterday, I got them on the boat, and they really liked it. So I'm definitely going to make sure I try and do that as much as possible. The last thing I did was on Wednesday, and that was missed opportunity. That word was missed opportunity. And to give you a definition of that, it is to not use an opportunity to do something. Missed opportunity. To not use the opportunity to do something. I'm not going to miss the opportunity to give you another word, another opinion, another thoughts and scriptures and quotes about today's word. And today's word is legacy. Legacy. Today's word is legacy. It is a Friday morning. I'm not sure how the weather is because it's still dark here where I'm at in South Carolina. But I anticipate it's going to be a nice, cool going into the fall season. So I'm definitely ready to get into that fall season. Put on a little bit of jacket and long sleeve shirt, sweater. I'm ready for that time of the season. So let's go ahead and get into it. Legacy. The definition of legacy. I got three definitions of it. The first one is an amount of money or property left to someone in a will. That's the legacy. An amount of money or property left to someone in a will. That's one definition. Second definition is the long-lasting impact or particular events, actions, etc. that took place in the past or of a person's life. Let me say that one more time. The second definition of legacy, the long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, etc. that took place in the past or of a person's life. Third definition of legacy is something that is passed on. Something that is passed on. We're going to function on that third. We're going to mainly key in and talk about the third definition, something that is passed on. The legacy scripture comes from the book of Joshua, the 4th chapter, the 6th and 7th verse, and it reads as follows. The stone will remind the people of what the Lord has done. In the future, when your childhood asks what these stones mean to you, you will tell them that they were water of the Jordan that stopped flowing when the Lord's covenant box crossed the river. These stones will always remind the people of Israel of what happened here. I'll say it one more time. It comes from the book of Joshua, the 4th chapter, the 6th and 7th verse, and it reads as follows. The stone will remind the people of what the Lord has done. In the future, when your children ask what these stones meant to you, you will tell them that that's when the water of the Jordan stopped flowing, when the Lord's covenant box crossed the river. These stones will always remind the people of Israel of what happened here. And basically that story is that it is a legacy that ancestors will leave onto their children and on and on and on. And basically the stones, whenever they see those stones, what the Bible is talking about, at that particular point, that will give them a quick flashback and say, what is those stones? Papa or Mama, whatever they call you, and you'll pass it on to your children and their children, and will in turn pass it on to their children, and so on and so forth. And say this is when the Lord stopped the waters of the River Jordan because the Ark of the Covenant was coming across, and he did not want to get wet or anything, so he stopped the waters so they could walk across uninterrupted without any kind of struggle and cross the Jordan and continue their mission and continue their trip. So a lot of families have things, legacies they have. Sometimes heirlooms and stuff can be considered as a legacy. Sometimes money can be considered as a legacy. Sometimes land. Sometimes one of the legacies I think my family has is that we had a good name. That if the town that I live in, the grands, if they say they were going to do something, especially my dad who's still living, my uncles, my granddad, they had a good name for it as, look, if they tell you something, you can stand by it, your word. That's why I try to have a very good name. My legacy that I hope to leave to my family, my sons, my daughters, my wife, whoever is still here when I'm gone, is that, look, Danny did what he said he was going to do. He didn't lie to me. If he told me he was going to do this, he said he was going to do it. I tried to be as upright and honest and straightforward as humanly possible, and try to pass on those same characteristics and traits to my family and say, hey, look, sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth is not what we want to hear, but it's your obligation to tell someone the truth and try to be as straightforward as possible. Now, of course, as a human being, we all going to have shortcomings. We all are not going to say sometimes the right things. We're not going to do the right things. But for the most part, you must try to be as righteous and as upright and as straightforward as you can be. And that's what I try to be, especially in my profession. My legacy in law enforcement is that I'm trying to teach these young officers, the ones that are here now, that's going to be here after I'm gone. That sometimes when I was a rookie, there were some people that helped me, which I've named before. Assistant Chief Williams was definitely one that helped me. One of my buddies, Lieutenant Jamie Cooper at the time, he definitely helped me, and there were other officers along the way. My current boss, Sheriff Baxter, he definitely helped me, and there was just a host of people. Captain Clark, Lieutenant Demery, I'm just naming off some people, Tony Brown, Kim Hill, a lot of these people, they helped me in some shape, form, or fashion. I'm definitely appreciative for their efforts and for their kindness and for helping me out. A lot of them didn't have to do it, but the legacy that I'm leaving behind, I hope, and what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm trying to do, is that the officers that are under me, I'm trying to show them, hey, look, this is the way you need to do it. You need to have certain characteristics. You need to make sure, you need to be stern, you need to be fair, and you need to be consistent. Those are the things that I try to instill in my people that I supervise, and I try to give them as much knowledge as possible. When they ask questions, I don't always know the answers, but I always try and always pride myself in trying to find the answers and get back to them. Or if they ask me a question or ask for help or something, I always try to get that help that they ask for, and just show them, hey, look, this is better ways. I am of the mindset of working smarter, not harder, and so I try to give people tidbits of information and wisdom in spiritual ways, in physical ways, far as in today day-to-day activities. Man, just try to say, hey, look, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to say in this particular situation. For my kids, always trying to give them information, always trying to show them things and have discussions with them when time allows. And the legacy I want to leave on is like when I'm gone, my grandsons will hear things that I've done when they think of me fondly, and my great grandsons and daughters will hear things. I currently got a 6-month little grandson, and I want to be around a long time so I can talk to him and tell him some things about life in general. So there are different legacies that you can leave. Like I said, spiritual legacies, physical legacies. That also can be monetary legacies. And it's just a whole host of things you can do. And in the Bible, Noah's legacy, biblical legacy, was he built the ark. And I would love, there's a place I think in Tennessee that shows it's a recreation of the ark. And out here it is fantastic. It is lifelike. It is built to specific measurements, size of what was in the Bible. Now, I don't know how they convert cubits or whatever it was, or that's a particular measuring they gave in the Bible, but my understanding that it is very lifelike, it is huge, it is gigantic, and I want to definitely see that before before I close my eyes for the final time. But definitely, Moses had a legacy. His legacy is that he led his people out of Israel. He led the Israelites out of Egypt and took them to the promised land. He was able to go to the promised land with them. He had to pass the baton to Joshua, but Joshua was able to take them to the promised land and get them set up. Like I said, a lot of legacies. I can just go on and on in the Bible. Also here in real time, I'm sure your family has legacies. I'm sure that your family passes on their generational wealth if they have it, their generational knowledge, their good name, their work habits. all different sorts of things. But everyone that wants to leave a legacy is something that you're proud of. Now, sometimes legacies can be negative. Sometimes, um, sad to say, but sometimes things are hereditary. Sometimes positive things can be hereditary, but also negative things can be hereditary. There's old saying that the apple don't fall too far from the tree, and sometimes if it's a bad seed, whenever that fruit that seed produces, it can also be bad too. But there's always a chance and opportunity to change that. You just have to recognize if you happen to be that bad seed, that you have to recognize that, look, just because my parents, or just because my dad, just because my brother, my sister, my cousin, my uncle, whatever the case may be, was a bad seed or bad fruit, doesn't mean I have to be a bad fruit. So the individual still can change. But a lot of times, sometimes the sins of the father, and the Bible speaks to this, pass on to the sons and the offspring. So you can break that. You got to find out whatever it takes or whatever is needed to break that chain. If it's negative, if it's positive, then it's a good thing. You can build on that and improve and increase in your legacy, overall legacy. But it's always up to you how you do things. You can look at the glass as being half empty, as a negative person, a pessimistic person, which is probably going to leave a bad legacy, or you can look at the glass as being half full, which is a positive person and an energetic person, a person that probably is going to have a good legacy to leave and pass on. But like I said, legacy definitely is something that everyone should strive for to create if they don't have one, to pass on if they are lucky enough and blessed enough to have a family or a loved one, whatever the case may be, that they can pass the baton to and say, look, this is what I've created. This is what I've started. I need to pass it on to you, and you take it, you run with it, and you create it, and you make it better, and you keep passing the baton on through generation, through generation, through generation. So definitely, legacy is something we all should. A positive legacy is something we all should strive for. That's my 2 cents on that. And before I get out of here, I want to read this quote to you, this legacy quote to you, and it goes as follows. And it reads as follows. The things you do for yourself are gone when you are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. Let me say that one more time. The things you do for yourself are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. God wants you to do things for others. He wants you to be selfless. The more you do for others, the more the rich or the more the haves help the have-nots, that is pleasing to God. So make sure your legacy is to help those who are less fortunate than yourself. I always try to do that. Sometimes I can do more. At times, sometimes I just can't. But whatever I can do, I try to always do. It's definitely my profession. My legacy, one part of my legacy is to try to be able to help people. If I can help someone, give them a bit of piece of information, I can be merciful for as locking up their loved one or charging their loved one with a particular crime, or not charging them, and be able to help them out in different ways, or get them different kind of counseling or treatment, or put them in different programs that will help. I'm all for that, especially when it comes to children. Sometimes children can do stupid, impulsive things, and a lot of times the law gives us the ability to lock that individual up and put a bad mark on their life even before they get started good. And I'm not about that. I don't want to put a bad legacy on something. I don't want to have a hand in putting a bad legacy on somebody. I don't want to have a hand in pushing someone down a road that may lead them to a negative legacy. So, especially with children and juveniles, I try to exhaust all avenues of any kind of negative repercussions if I can. But if the law says you must, like I said in the past, the law says two things in most of all the statutes. It says you may do something, which means you can do it, or it says you must do something, which means you will do it. So I'm a firm believer in just because you can do something doesn't mean that you always have to do something. So we have to learn that. Just because you can lock somebody up doesn't mean you always have to. But if the law says in bold letters that you must do this or you must do that, then you have to adhere to the law. And then when it comes to court or something else, then you can try and possibly work something out or have the individual plead to something. But if it can do something, if you feel in your heart, if you're in a position where you can help somebody have a positive legacy, I definitely encourage you to do that, because that's what I'm going to try to do. I want to thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday morning. It is November. It is September the 22nd, 2023. And if this is your first time ever seeing this show, I'm going to ask you to do a few things for me. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is please subscribe to the channel. Second thing I'm going to ask you to do is please hit that notification bell, because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload. It would also be nice if you hit the like button, that thumbs up, because that helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, leave a comment. If you leave a comment, I will definitely read your comment and get back to you, and it's definitely appreciated. Also, I want you to watch my videos from start to finish, beginning to end, because that definitely also helps with the YouTube algorithm. I definitely hope that you all have a blessed weekend, have a safe weekend, and guess what? I'm going to say this again. I'm going to reiterate this. If you don't have good walking shoes, I'm going to ask you to go and get you some good walking shoes. Go ahead before each and every show, stretch out and get the muscles ready and warmed up, because I'm not going to slow down on this road to wisdom, and I need you to keep up with me. So until next week, take it easy and have a good day.